Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm happy to have all of you attend today's session, which is a groundbreaking session. It is literally the first collaboration that the Rochester Institute of Technology is having with the New York State chapter of HIMSS, and HIMSS is the Health Information Management Systems Society. So we welcome you to our event. It'll be approximately 90 minutes long. We'll have multiple speakers from both parties, and we hope you enjoy it. So, a little logistics first. For those of you that are attendees, if you require closed caption, you will notice that there is a button up next to the icons for the camera and phone. If you click on the CC, you will actually have closed captioning on your device. Question and answers, but questions particularly, we're going to ask that you go to the chat box and submit your question in the chat format, and our coordinator will get those questions to the proper presenter for their explanation. If you run into any difficulties, as is the case with all computers, and as you can probably talk to your IT help desk, turn your device off, turn it back on, just bring the presentation back up. So a little bit about HIMSS. HIMSS is actually now a global enterprise. It's a not-for-profit organization that comprises over, I believe, somewhere in the vicinity of 170 different organizations and chapters globally. We have over 108,000 members globally, and represents the entire spectrum of the healthcare world, which is hospitals, physician practices, insurance companies, retail pharmacy, all aspects, and the IT component of that spectrum. So everything that's going on in today's world globally, from the pandemic to dealing with the cost of care to telehealth, is things that are under the purview of HIMSS Global. Within HIMSS Global, there's HIMSS National, which is headquartered in Chicago, Illinois, and there are approximately 40 chapters throughout the United States and Canada, of which the New York State chapter is actually the oldest chapter and one of the largest chapters within that structure. The National HIMSS organization also has a number of committees where they recruit individuals from the various local chapters to participate on national initiatives. So myself personally have been involved in initiatives that have reached from the standardization of interoperability standards that have gone to the Office of the National Coordinator of Health IT, to letters written directly to President Biden, and also presentations to the Ways and Means Committee on everything from patient identification to the standardization of care across the entire continuum. The New York State chapter is a microcosm of the national chapter. So you will notice that we are parallel to the national chapter. We are a 501c6 not-for-profit, and all our members are non-paid individuals. So this is a complete voluntary organization that is running the entire state. We deal primarily in the education, enhancement, and enlargement of our membership, of which the academic component plays an incredibly critical role, given that from the academic centers such as RIT, many of our future leaders are going to learn about what's going on in healthcare, the opportunities within the healthcare field, and how they can contribute to that area. So some statistics. Even though we're working under a global organization, not-for-profit, and the national as well, our governance structure is such that we are giving quite a bit of latitude to make operating decisions within the construct of the bylaws that are set up at the global and national level. We have over 2,300 members, of which currently 79% care organizations, 20% come from the vendor side of the street, which we euphemistically call sponsors, and 1% right now comes from the payers or the insurance companies, the HMOs, and those that manage care companies. So how do we go about reaching out to our membership? We're doing it through various vehicles and venues, through the educational programs that we put in place, of which this initiative falls under that auspices, as well as networking opportunities. So one of the things that we are very, very interested in and excited about is, from a networking side of the street, we have the ability to now introduce students to potential employers, and employers obviously to students in the healthcare field. So this is quite groundbreaking in this area. Again, we use the same guidelines as the national area in terms of our committee structure, which runs from advocacy to compliance, diversity, education, finance, IT leadership, etc. Interestingly enough, and I'll point out two that are new to our organization, which is advocacy and diversity, we literally have been working with New York State legislators in educating them on the challenges and potentially some of the solutions in the healthcare field, and primarily healthcare IT. So last year, I believe we met personally, virtually, as far as you can get to in a virtual world, with 7 legislators, which included assemblymen and even state senators. And these are the folks that are, building and shaping public policy for New York State. At this point in time, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Al Canal. Al Canal has been the chair of our mentoring group and has also been incredibly influential in putting together and building this relationship. So in the last 6 months to a year, he has opened up venues that heretofore did not exist. So without further ado, Al, I'm turning it over to you. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks so much, Nick, and thanks to the whole RIT team and all the attendees today. So my name is Al Canal. I'm president of Strategic Interests, a Rochester-based healthcare consulting firm that helps transform healthcare through innovation, and we work with all kinds of players in the industry. One of the things you run into as a consultant is us and them. It's a barrier for good things to happen, whether it's inside an organization or between organizations. There's the alienation of we know what we're doing and they don't. Also one of my favorite songs. Well, reality is together we're better is more powerful than us and them. And in this case, I think together is much better as we bring together 2 institutions that have similar interests, but have not yet been working together. I've been a member of HIMSS for a long time, and I've been to the annual meeting, which is very, very good when COVID's not around, probably almost 15 or maybe 15 times, and have been active with HIMSS New York for several years now, and just my humble role on the mentorship committee to try and help bring those that know and have experience to those that don't, which is sort of similar to what we're talking about here. I've also lived in Rochester for a very long time. From here, was gone, but have been back for a long time, and it's the home of RIT. I have passion for digital health and innovation, and I have passion for my community in upstate New York, really all of New York, and the two come together nicely. So our firm brings together partners to collaborate in ways that haven't been done before that can further the strategic interests. Today is an example of that. So RIT has joined HIMSS as an academic organizational affiliate, which really opens up the world of HIMSS education, networking, and capabilities to the RIT world, which includes the professors and the staff and the students, probably most important, and the alumni network, a very important part, because RIT alumni are around the world. So HIMSS approached RIT to connect students with industry partners, and here we go. So we hope and think that RIT will value from engaging with HIMSS by enhancing the careers of students, professors, and alumni that are interested in healthcare, and helping many of them be recruited. The HIMSS value from RIT, it can help the providers and the vendors that are HIMSS members recruit top candidates. You're going to hear about these programs today. They're very strong. They're not just flippant and passive about their commitment to healthcare. It's very strong. And also consider sending students to the impactful programs that they have. It'll be a great investment in your money, your time, and the individual's money and time, because when they're done, they'll be that much more effective. So with that, I am actually going to pass the baton to Ann Hake, who's going to tell us about the Golisano. Oh, wait, one last thing. We're thankful that RIT sent this probably and cascaded it. There was a press release to many individuals who are not members of HIMSS today. Think about it. It's not very expensive. It is very valuable. And the RIT world gets a certain number of slots with their organizational affiliate. First come, first serve, or talk to your professors and or the administrators in your department. And we look forward to seeing you get value from it. And also to see our full events calendar, because there are many events. We just had one yesterday. There'll be more next week. Snip this barcode and off you are. With that, Ann, why don't you tell us more about the Golisano College?
Thank you. Just wait a moment for the slides to change.
Sorry, and it's just taking me a second.
It's okay.
apologize.
I was just wondering if I just wasn't seeing them, so I'm glad you said.
No, you can start, and I will get it up in a second for you.
Okay. Sure, I'll just go right ahead, and the slides will pop up in just a second. So good afternoon, everyone. It really is a pleasure to be here today. I'm Ann Hake. I'm the Dean of the Golisano College of Computing and Information Sciences. I'm really pleased to have this opportunity to share with you today a little bit about RIT and the Computing College as we forge this new relationship with the HIMSS community. I can tell you, some of you may know something about RIT, just a few things. It's a very large private university that goes back to actually 1829. We now have just under 20,000 students. We have 9 colleges, 2 degree granting units, and 4 global campuses, which are a little bit newer. But they've been around actually quite a while as well. And so now you can see the slides. This is actually the Golisano College of Computing and Information Sciences, what it looks like. You can go on to the next slide, please. All right, so RIT is actually ranked 3rd in STEM among all national private universities. But you may not know that we offer a lot of programs that are also at the intersection of technology, art, and design. And so today you'll probably hear about some programs that you might have been unaware of. So there's some kind of facts and figures here. We have a strong reputation as being a best value school. And also we're ranked highly among online schools. In terms of the college, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. The college itself was formed then as a comprehensive computing college. And this means we offer programs across the breadth and depth of computing. So we started actually almost 50 years ago with what is now computer science. And that program is now ranked 54 out of 538 nationally by U.S. News and World Report. The college is the largest of RIT's 9 colleges with over 5,000 students here in Henrietta, and then our global campuses. We have a lot of alumni out there. And I think another thing to talk about is that we are known as a college of innovation and firsts. And what I mean by that is we have launched some of the first undergraduate degrees nationally. So more than 25 years ago, our computer science faculty recognized that there was a need for an academic program that would really be strong, prepare students to be strong advocates for the end users. And that was the origin of our IT degree. That degree is now offered within our School of Information, amongst many other degrees. But we're also the first software engineering and networking degrees. And then more recently, we formed the first Department of Computing Security, and that program is highly ranked, along with our game design and development program by US News and World Report. And the picture on the right, the blue picture, is our newest addition. That's our Global Cybersecurity Institute that just opened during the pandemic. That grew out of a very generous gift by an alum. And within the GCI, we have some strong interdisciplinary programs, interdisciplinary research, but also a cyber range for training, all sorts of opportunities for partnerships, corporate partnerships, for example. And we've expanded our academic programs there. So next slide, please. All right, so as you heard, a few minutes ago, both by the intro and also some of my comments, well, we're a large college and offering many, many different programs. And these are really strong top programs that generate graduates that are interested in healthcare domain for co-ops and also as their career choice. I hadn't really mentioned co-ops, but if you're not familiar with co-ops, that's also a real differentiator for RIT. All of our programs in the computing college require a co-op, and this is similar to an internship, which you may be more familiar with that term, co-ops, but they're paid, usually work-based, but also we've expanded into research and entrepreneurship, but to give our students real world experience, hands-on experience, and these are part of their regular academic programs. So on the left, you can see many of our BS/MS programs listed. This is not all of them, but also our PhD. We also offer some certificates and minors. But as you can see on the right, these programs have generated graduates that are interested and have worked in the clinical and telehealth setting. This is even before and after the advent of the EHR. They continue to do that. They're working as technology solutions providers and also in healthcare research. The next slide, please. And we have quite a strong and growing program of research in the college. And I just wanted to highlight here, one of our major strengths is in the healthcare area, particularly around personalized healthcare. And so our researchers and our students use data. This could be patient data, biomedical images, and apply techniques of machine learning and AI to really tackle some of the challenging issues in clinical decision making, for example. So there's lots of opportunity there to collaborate with our students and our faculty across all of these areas. Next slide, please. And so as we've heard today, we're really excited about this new relationship, and we see many opportunities to grow it. So through these connections between RIT and the healthcare community, opportunities for our faculty to collaborate and research, and certainly for our students, both in research projects and also as places to go for co-ops and to build a new career in the healthcare field. And we hope that we can, help forge this path as we go on. Next slide. And I will stop by saying, to bring up again, that we've had a long-term strength in online programs, and of course that's grown under the pandemic since we had to offer everything online for quite a long time. And you can see some of these on the right, and in particular, I'm going to point out the Health Informatics Masters. And with that, I'm going to pass the baton to Dr. Chris Bondi, who's going to tell you about this program. And Chris is the program coordinator of our MS in Health Informatics. Chris.
Thank you, Dean Hankey, and good afternoon. I want to start with really a statement that we all would agree that the healthcare industry is in the midst of a digital transformation. And in fact, when we look at Deloitte's 2021 Global Healthcare Outlook, they state that healthcare organizations today are transitioning to health IT systems powered by computing, data, and analytics tools to enable real-time smart digital health. They're also using interoperable data and platforms to support deep learning capabilities, always-on biosensors, and behavioral research to shape consumer beliefs and actions. They're also applying virtual care, artificial intelligence, and other technologies to personalize medicine, enable real-time care intervention, and enable behavioral nudges. McKinsey research estimates that big data could reduce healthcare expenditures in the US and generate over $300 billion in value annually. So the healthcare industry is truly in transition to an industry that's highly impacted by data and computing. Here at RIT, we've realigned our Master's in Health Informatics graduate degree program to address the growing need for highly skilled, data-savvy healthcare professionals. Let's take a closer look into the Health Informatics degree. And I think, Nick, you could jump a couple slides ahead. One more, please. Okay, right there. So Health Informatics is an interdisciplinary degree of design, development, and adoption of application and IT-based innovations in healthcare services delivery, management, and planning. And our objective in this program is to equip healthcare professionals with vital skills to fill emerging roles as clinical or clinician analysts. Next slide, please. RIT has partnered with Rochester Regional Health to deliver a unique blend of healthcare and applied computing courses with the aim of equipping students with the practical use of data in the healthcare setting. Next slide, please. This unique blend of healthcare and computing, theory and practice, is accomplished through an expert team of faculty from both Rochester Regional Health and RIT. The Rochester Regional faculty are practicing medical doctors that deliver the clinical courses, and the RIT faculty naturally deliver the data analytics, programming, technology courses. This program is a great example of a best-in-class learning experience for students. Next slide, please. The Health Informatics program is completely online, designed for working healthcare professionals. They're looking at a career advancement into the health informatics field. Next slide. To date, students have largely come from the healthcare domain in the clinical setting. The program is perfect for healthcare professionals looking to advance their career to the part that is really in demand around this clinical analysis area. There's other potential for individuals from the technical computing and IT backgrounds who are interested in learning about the healthcare domain and transferring their technical skills into that area. Next slide, please. One of the key differentiators of this program is the students study with board-eligible practicing physicians in each cohort from Rochester Regional Health. The program is designed with 10 7-week courses over a 2-year period. That's 2 courses per semester and 1 in each of the summer sessions. The Health Informatics program is also includes an on-site immersive session with Rochester Regional Health, where students experience firsthand dynamics of health informatics in the clinical setting with clinical experts. Next slide, please. So let's look at the specific course offering for the Health Informatics program. The program delivers fundamental instruction in computing and in health informatics, which provides a great on-ramp for a diverse set of students. And the curriculum advances with deeper training in applied data analytics, immersive instruction of what we can expect in the healthcare settings. There's a full description of these courses at the RIT website if you're interested in looking closer. Next slide, please. This recent data from Burning Glass shows the wide range of skill sets that are typical candidates for advancement in the health informatics field. Notice there's a mix between both clinical and technical folks who are in these top positions that are migrating towards health informatics. Next slide. Next slide, please. With the growth in healthcare, and specifically, as I mentioned at the beginning, the specific needs associated with digital transformation in healthcare, the job prospects in this market are very optimistic for health informatics graduates. Next slide, please. So to share a unique student's experience, I'd like to welcome a recent graduate from the Health Informatics program to the discussion. Wendy Cody is a physician's assistant working in internal and family medicine for the past 19 years. She's a clinical preceptor for RIT PA students for the last 12 years and an assistant adjunct instructor teaching Intro to Hospital Medicine for RIT PA program in the last 5 years. Wendy graduated from this RIT Health Informatics program in June 2021. Welcome, Wendy. If you can hear me?
I think I can. Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Sure can. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask you a few questions just to get your recent and very relevant student perspective.
Sure.
So to begin, what did you like about this health informatics program?
Well, for me, the most important part is that it was online. You know, I'm working full-time as a provider, 2 teenage children at home, teaching at RIT. So it was really important to me to be able to do it on my own time, you know, often 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when I was able to dial in and do the work, listening to lectures on my way to work and my commute. So it was very flexible and allowed me to be able to take part. But I could go to campus when I needed extra help. Some of the classes that involved coding that were more involved, I did go on to campus and get extra help.
Wonderful. Yeah, it sounds like that flexibility really helps.
Mm-hmm.
So how did this HIMSS degree advance your career?
Well, we're working on that. I'm currently working towards becoming an STS trainer. Well, I will work with other providers to teach them how to use the EPIC system more efficiently, hopefully help teach them how to use the data, how to grab data and use it to hopefully meet all those measures that we need to in medicine.
Put your new skills to use, right? So from your perspective, you know, being a recent grad and kind of looking at the potential here, you know, what does the future hold for you in terms of leveraging these great skills you've acquired?
Well, I hope to, you know, I see the importance of this degree in this work in kind of moving medicine. We say it's happening, hopefully it'll happen, or it looks like it's happening, going from the fee to service, or fee for service to fee for performance. So there's going to be much more focus in medicine on proving our outcomes and getting reimbursed based on our outcomes. So I see a focus on healthcare professionals who are proficient in using the data and presenting the data to be able to have the system reimbursed. So I see nothing but potential growth in a provider who has this degree.
You're sort of at the crest of the wave you can ride here, right? So now that you're alumnus and a veteran of health informatics program, I wonder if you could provide a word of advice for prospective students who might be in clinical settings today, even on this call, on this webinar, and thinking about advancing their career. What would you tell them?
Yeah, well, I would tell them I think now is an exciting time to get in. You know, for all the reasons that we've discussed so far. You know, health systems are stressed. I think the pandemic has really highlighted that. Telemedicine has taken off during this time. So I think it's a really exciting time to get in and get the experience and maybe be ahead of the curve.
Oh, wonderful. Wendy, again, I thank you for your time today, and congratulations on the completion of your master's degree in health informatics. And I'm sure we'll be very connected in the years to come. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Next slide, please. Next. So in wrapping up this section from the Golisano Computing College of Information Sciences, for further information about this program, the Health Informatics degree program, feel free to contact me, Professor Correspondi. My information's there. You can find me on the RIT website, or Karen Palmer in the registrar's office. Now I'd like to hand the baton to my colleagues over in the Saunders College of Business, Dean Jacky Moser and Professor Sean Hansen.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jacky Moser. I'm Dean of Saunders College of Business. And I think we'll just wait 1 minute, and I think somebody will put the slides up for us.
Just 1 second, Jackie, and I'll be right with you. There you go. Okay, thank you. So as I said, my name is Jacky Moser. I'm Dean of Saunders College of Business, and like our previous presentation, I'll provide you with a brief overview of Saunders College and then turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Sean Hansen, who is a professor and department chair in Management Information Systems Marketing and Analytics. We're really happy to be here today and learn more about the organization and talk about potential collaborations with the organization and RIT. Next slide. So I think when you think about RIT, you think about a tech school. You think about computing and engineering, but interestingly, RIT is a very well-established business school going back to the 1950s. And we really operate at that intersection between business and technology. We are a top 5 business school in New York State. So up there with the likes of NYU and Cornell and Syracuse. It's just our differentiation really resides as a business school at the intersection of business and technology. Next slide. So as I mentioned, our school goes back to the 1950s, although in the early 2000s, we were named after Phil Saunders, who is a well-known entrepreneur in the Western New York area. Our school is about a little over 1,000 students, 700 undergraduate students, and over 300 graduate students, and a very diverse community of students from Western New York, across the nation, and more than 40 different countries. And we are also AACSB accredited, which is the highest level of accreditation that can be received by a business school. Only about 5% of business schools across the world maintain this accreditation, and so we're very proud of that. Next slide. So what makes Saunders College different? Well, certainly we have a very strong and global reputation, but we're one of the smaller colleges at RIT. So today you're hearing from the largest college at RIT, the Computing College, and you're hearing from the smallest college at RIT, or one of the smallest colleges at RIT. And so within Saunders College, you have access to world-class faculty. The faculty teach all the classes, but yet you do have the capability to leverage the resources of a large university. We're very focused on experiential learning throughout our curriculum, from our undergraduate programs all the way through to our graduate programs. At the undergraduate level, all of our students co-op or do internships, just like in the College of Computing, and integrated throughout all of our courses at both the undergraduate level and the graduate level are
applied projects and project-based learning. And there's also research opportunities available to both undergraduate students and graduate students. And we partner with companies across the region. For example, one company we're partnering with right now on research is the Jewish Senior Life Center, JSL, which is a fairly large healthcare organization. And we have a faculty member and students that work with that organization to integrate technology to improve the quality of life, enhance the quality of life for their residents. So it's a really interesting project that we've integrated both undergrads and graduate students into. And all of that leads to really strong outcomes for our students. Next slide. As I mentioned, we do have a very strong reputation. I mentioned as ranked by US News, we are top 5 in New York State, but I also want to highlight and point out nationally, our Management Information Systems program, which Sean will talk about in a couple of minutes, is ranked number 3 in the nation. And our MBA programs and MS programs are also very highly ranked by a number of different ranking agencies. Next slide. I might also just mention one other highlight on the previous slide. Our EMBA program, Executive MBA program, which really blends together that technology and business. We have that both on campus as well as online, and that's ranked top 20 in the nation. So this is our portfolio of programs. You can see at the undergraduate level. Traditional business types of programs, but also very unique programs, our largest program being the MIS program, Management Information Systems. And one of our really fast-growing programs is Supply Chain Management. And then at the graduate level, we also have a strong portfolio of programs, including our MBA programs and our Executive MBA programs. And with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Hansen. So, Sean?
Thanks, Jackie. Nick, I'll wait. I know it takes a second to progress to my face. I should probably back away from the camera. My head takes up too much of the frame. Okay, so I believe I'm live now. As Dean Moser mentioned, I think one of the things I want to, we're going to highlight a couple of these programs in particular.
Sean, hold on.
My own voice.
Yeah, you're getting echo.
Should I try again? Sounds better.
You're good.
All right, thank you. So I'm just going to repeat that quickly. As Dean Moser mentioned, I'm going to highlight just a couple of the programs that I think are probably most relevant to this community, to the HIMSS community. But the opportunities we really see as we've been developing this partnership, as we've had these conversations, we really see just a wide array of opportunities. As I highlight in particular the undergraduate programs, I think one of the things I want any of you who may be hiring to realize that we have these programs that are generating young adults with really strong skills at that intersection of business and technology and managing technology within organizations and effective use of data. Certainly as we look at the graduate programs, if any of you are thinking about graduate programs that you might be interested in or pursuing your own education further, just sort of highlighting some of the opportunities there, as my colleagues at the Golisano College did as well. But as Dean Moser did just mention, we have a lot of project-based work. So I think there are also opportunities within courses or within programs. If any of your organizations want to engage with a partner like RIT around a project, our students are always engaged in those types of activities. So we're very open to crafting specific projects. That Executive MBA program, which I will highlight a little bit here, is one where we do capstone projects every single term, multiple capstone projects every single term. And so you get really some really high quality deliverables from seasoned professionals. If you're interested in that, last year we launched a business analytics competition, and we're always open to partners around that because we like to, if you have any interest in getting a bunch of really smart undergraduate and graduate students working on that data to try to pursue some insights. It's a good opportunity to pursue some of those, to glean some of those business analytics insights. So lots of opportunities that we see, and I'll highlight some of those as I just hit a couple of these programs. Nick, if you could progress. So the Management Information Systems program is the program that I teach in. This is a Bachelor of Science program. I think between our two colleges, we took a slightly different approach here. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of each of these programs, but we're certainly open to additional discussions. Again, as Dean Moser mentioned, we have been gratified to be ranked number 3 in the country by the College Factual rating service. College Factual has actually rated us in the top 10 for several years now. 3 was the highest, so that was very gratifying. But again, we don't take most of the credit for the work. I think the high quality of our graduates and the great things that they've been doing are the real drivers of that. A big emphasis in this program is that balance between people, business processes, and information technology, making sure that our graduates are coming out with that strong technical foundation, but also realizing what it is that drives performance in organizations, and that you can't focus only on one facet of that triangle. You have to focus on the people within the organization, the technologies at their disposal, and how those fit with the ways in which you work, the business process. So we have a strong socio-technical focus within the program. And again, I think that's really been the secret of our success in recent years and has really driven tremendous success for our graduates. So in particular, this is the type of program that I think if you are hiring and looking for people in analyst roles, business analyst, systems analyst, data analyst, developer, project management, those are all the types of roles that our graduates have been moving into and they're well primed for. Can we go to the next program, which is our BS in supply chain management? As Jacky mentioned, this is one of our newest programs. We started this we started the supply chain management program just 4 years ago. And this is a good example of a program that was created that was really driven by the needs of industry. We were consistently hearing from people in lots of different industries, and I know this certainly applies in the healthcare space, for a need for people with supply chain management sensibility, skills, background, understanding how to map complex supply chains and work within those. And so we launched it 4 years ago, and it's been growing very rapidly. We're now at 35 majors in the latest group, 35 students majoring in the latest group, but it keeps growing year over year. Within this program, again, strong focus on blending those engineering orientation and the business orientation. And our students do take coursework in industrial engineering as part of this program. Strong focus on understanding global supply chains, business strategy, information systems piece is a big part of it. Lean production, quality management. I won't read you the whole list, but really all those aspects of what it takes to manage complex contemporary supply chains. And again, as this program has just been launched, we are just now starting to see the students sort of go fully through the program, and it's very promising in terms of the types of opportunities that our students are receiving right now. If we can move to the next. So at the graduate level then, there's a couple different programs we want to highlight. One is the Master of Business Administration. So an MBA is sort of the core of most business educational environments. Our MBA program at RIT is STEM designated. So STEM, of course, being science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Having a STEM designation is incredibly valuable because it attracts students at multiple levels because of the recognition in the marketplace of how important STEM foundations and skills are at the moment. So in our MBA, in this STEM designated MBA program, students can focus on a wide variety of specialties, but regardless of the specialty that they choose, they have to get that STEM foundation, which is part of that designation that we have. It's a traditional 2-year MBA program, but if students have an undergraduate or if individuals have an undergraduate degree in business, they can often waive some of the foundational coursework to do it in a year, or sometimes slightly more, sometimes just one calendar year. So again, in terms of the specialties, there are a number of very information systems or technology-oriented specialties, including MIS, business analytics, supply chain management. And then we have specialized specialties in engineering management and health systems administration that are taken in coordination with the other colleges on campus. And then as a separate program, it's I put it on the slide with the MBA, but it is a distinct program is the Executive MBA. And the Executive MBA is a residency-based program where people will come, in the case of the in-person EMBA, will come on campus every other week throughout about a year and a half, and they build strong rapport within their groups. It is a cohort-based system, and it's really about seasoned professionals sort of pushing their career to a new level. We also have an online version of the EMBA program. I actually have the good fortune of teaching in both of those programs, and I can say with regard to the online EMBA, I think it really is a unique online teaching experience and learning experience, and I think that's why it's been so widely recognized. It's very interactive. It's not sort of I think sometimes people still associate online learning with what used to be called correspondence courses or something that's a little more static or a little more asynchronous. This program is very interactive and very synchronous in nature, and I think it's a very powerful opportunity. Next, please. One of our newest MS programs is our Master of Science in Business Analytics. And again, the focus here is trying to take business data and glean insights from it. So building, the program focuses on the wide array of different analytics, applied analytics specialties within the business, so within a business domain. So students may take marketing analytics and finance analytics and accounting analytics in addition to just that foundation in analytical tools and techniques. This program has been booming. So in just 3 years of existence, the size of the program has basically doubled every year, 48 in the most recent cohort, and we are currently in the process of launching the online version of this, which would be a separate program, but we haven't, what I've highlighted here is the on-site business analytics program, but there's also an online business analytics program that is just now being launched, and it has already received some, we've already received some significant recognition of this, including a number 16 recognition with regard to specialty in business analytics by U.S. News and World Report. Just to highlight a little bit of what this program focuses on, big emphasis on data strategy within organizations, data collection techniques, obviously data analysis, and then extending from that data visualization to really get actionable intelligence out of our organizational data. Next, please. I believe this is the last of the programs that I'm highlighting uniquely, but we also have a Master of Science in Global Supply Chain Management. And this is also a quite new program. As I mentioned earlier, our undergraduate program in supply chain management was largely driven by the demands of industry and the needs of industry in this space. And this Global Supply Chain Management master's degree is even more recent than that. So this also is a one-year STEM Master of Science program. The focus is similar to the undergraduate degree, really building those key skills for predicting trends and driving complex, driving outcomes in a complex supply chain environment. So as with the undergraduate version of the program, strong blend between sort of engineering orientation and traditional business orientation. So I believe that's it with regard to those. I do want to just highlight again, as we look at all of those programs and even more beside, the opportunities for engagement and projects are pretty widespread. So for example, if you saw any of those programs and thought, and I'm sure this is true with my colleagues over at the Golisano College as well, and you thought, I would love to have a team of students in one of these programs working on a data set that we have just to see what they can make of it, or we've got this project and we've been trying to think about how to sort of pursue it in a more effective fashion. It might be good to have a bunch of people have a look at it and see what kind of insights they can generate. In any of these programs that I've highlighted here, that's the type of thing that we would be very open to pursuing, and it is the type of thing that we pursue on a regular basis. So So we have sort of established patterns for this type of undertaking. I believe that's it for me. Nick, you can check me and see if I have any more in the slide deck, but I don't think so.
Yep, I
Nope,
think
we're good.
so as well. Thank you guys. I mean, a really broad and deep set of programs and a profile of students that are going to be coming out prepared for very effective and impactful careers. But I want to start with some other personal comments. One, I had the EMBA team do a capstone project on my company. And I must admit, I applied once. Someone thought it'd be a good idea, and I was rejected. I thought I did a great job telling them why I had a great project, but it's competitive, right? I mean, you have to have a decent project. But the next semester, I refined what it was, the problem that I wanted addressed, and they did a fantastic job. They hit the ball out of the park. I learned, they learned, I enjoyed them. They're seasoned professionals. It was terrific. So I reiterate what Sean's saying. If anybody has a project to be done, whether you're in a health system or working for a vendor or a consulting firm, you can get some really good people helping you do something. And also, I wanted to share that being on the board of Jewish Senior Life that you brought up, and Professor Vic Parati is just awesome, and he's bringing a lot of value to that institution that does a lot of great things itself, but it is going to be more prepared for the future because of their affiliation with RIT. So it's the kind of thing that other institutions can do as well. I want to thank you guys. Very, very great set of programs. And leave it open. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we can ask one of the folks to address them. I do have one question that has appeared. So as RIT tends to change some of its programs on an annual basis, which is great. Do you plan to stay close to the information you get from interacting with HIMSS to maybe influence some of those changes in your curriculum so you can be guaranteed to be current with what's required in industry?
Anyone in particular you want to address that to, Al?
I would say either Professors Bondi or Hanson, one of the doctors. I know that you're excited about participating. Go ahead.
I think Sean was muted, so I'll jump in, and then maybe you could piggyback on my comment, Sean. But Al, it's a great question, and most recently we conducted a curriculum audit on the health informatics program, much of what you're suggesting. And we looked at alumnus, we looked at industry folks, and we also looked from a strategy perspective to see what courses needed to be fine-tuned. And I think, as Sean would probably tell you, this is routine for all of us in academia, especially both Sean and I work in sort of high-tech or technology sort of stimulated domains, and we're constantly our ear to the wind. So what's important for me personally in my work and in my own research in health informatics and this health informatics program is I felt like RIT could benefit directly with this program of creating this tight relationship between the active students in the program and the industry folks that are in both the developer and the clinical settings to help us sort of maybe do, sort of not make the audits a thing that we do from time and time again, to make it more, steal a business term, as continuous improvement. And so constantly be, sort of revamping and including more, professionals and clinicians in the program. I think, this is a perfect, I'd say relationship for us from the, comp sci perspective.
Can you guys tell me if I'm?
You're good now, Sean. Oh, you're muted again.
Still muted, John.
He had something good to say.
Yeah, and you were unmuted for just a moment, so I think something you did was right on.
Well, while we're waiting for, oh, there we go. Go ahead, Sean. Oh.
Yep.
While we're waiting for that, Chris or any of the folks, as both providers and vendors within the HIMSS world look forward to recruiting some of your students, I know that also is competitive because your students are going to be getting offers from a lot of places. Any sort of words of advice you think they can do to one, to get some students, but two, also to make sure they give them the good experiences that they want so they can have fulfilling careers? Great
question. So on the supplier side and clinician side, I think when RIT students reach out, whether it be a capstone project, in our case, or let's say a supply chain improvement process project, something that Sean might have, I would say in industry, it's good to be receptive to those students because they're sort of sending out a lifeline saying, hey, I've got something I'm working on that I'm passionate about. Do you care? And if, these external sources do care and sort of connect with the students, many times students that are on capstone research or project work, or most, as Ann mentioned, co-ops, they tend to stay, they have a very, very close alliance with and allegiance with these external entities. So many times it's a chance for the industry folks to check out the student and see what their skill sets are and even groom them through a project or a co-op, and the student to sort of feel out the firm as well. And then in many cases, it lends itself to full-time employment. So I think the way to circumvent them sort of leaving town and going, or leaving the region and going to other offers, is to engage the students when the students ask. And I think one thing I did in firms that I've owned, and Al, we remember our days together back at Xerox, right, is we had people in our business units that were constantly working with the universities. We had money in our budgets to sponsor co-ops. And so we sort of had it part of our business model, this engagement with universities as a lifeline and a refresher of new talent.
Yep, great. You with us, Sean?
It keeps.
You're good, Sean.
You're good.
Oh,
now.
I am audible?
You're good now.
Because it's showing me that I'm not. So this might cut out, so we'll have to see. I think there's a couple things. One is we are always engaging with organizations, and I think the HIMSS membership would be a great opportunity in this regard, bringing people in to do. I think a big issue with students and placement, it's competitive, but it's also about awareness, right? So I often advocate for students, at a certain age, students tend to focus on just the big names like, Google and Microsoft and Amazon and whatnot. And I often say, you get a lot more early experience in your career if you go to maybe a focused organization like a healthcare organization, or even smaller firms, right? Because you're given more opportunities to do many different things. And so I think one of the things that's a real opportunity is just to generate awareness. So, we're happy to have you do guest.
We lost them again.
Sean, lost you.
So Sean was suggesting guest lecturing, come on in, do projects. How am I doing, Sean? Okay.
He's going to call.
Well, we're almost at the time. Those were the questions. Any other comments from the deans?
I had one. Someone emailed me a colleague of mine from Rochester Regional Health, and his name is Balaj Zantas, and he's a medical doctor and one of the individuals involved in our health informatics program, and had some comments he wanted to make. I don't know if that came through, Nick, in the chat or not, and maybe if not, I will try to distill his comment from an email he sent me.
I know Dr. Jenitz very well, so I don't know that we have a way to get another presenter. I love his passion. Why don't you share, or
Okay.
make an effort?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Al. So the note I received from Balaz today was that Rochester Regional Health just got revalidated, and extended to 6 hospitals for HIMSS, and the acronym is the EMRAM Stage 7 status 2 days ago. And apparently this, is a big thing. In New York State, there's only 13 hospitals qualified, and 6 of those are Rochester Regional. And the other thing that he wanted to mention is that they also just got validated by Chimes Most Wired as a level 8 and 9, which is remarkable. And I think those are sort of credentials that, in Rochester, we have a lot of attention in U of R at times, but we all need to understand that Rochester Regional Health is a tremendous resource, and the relationship that RIT has with Rochester Regional Health in this symbiotic sort of student industry connection in the classroom and in clinical settings is just a tremendous experience for students. As their credentials continue to rise, so does the brand power of RIT and Rochester Regional combined. So I just wanted to highlight that and kind of say congrats to my colleagues over at Rochester Regional.
Am I audible through the phone?
You are. We hear you.
Okay, so you guys, hopefully everyone saw that while I was speaking and I went mute, I hadn't touched anything. So I'm blaming the technology. I'm a technical person, but I'm still blaming the technology. I think one of the things that I should have highlighted when I talked about the EMBA program, incidentally, is that we have in the EMBA program created tailored programs. And one of the things we did was create a tailored program for Rochester Regional Health that was initially an advanced, aimed at nurses within the RRH system. We tailored it just for RRH. The whole cohort was a Rochester Regional Health group. And a lot of them chose to go on and complete their full EMBA, right? The initial program was not a full degree, and they decided they were really engaged in it and they wanted to complete the full EMBA. I also know at least one of my friends and collaborators is also on this call, watching this call, and he is both an EMBA grad and has taught within our programs for a long time. And so I think the linkages are quite significant throughout.
Yeah. And I've had the pleasure of working with Dr. Jenitz and Aaron Burton and others at Rochester Regional. It is an example of how a health system can work with, usually people think of them working with the large academic medical centers, which are great, they're phenomenal. But the community hospitals also have great opportunities, and HIMSS level 7 is quite a feat. So hats off to the folks at Rochester Regional. Any other questions in the chat, Nick or anybody?
I don't, but I have so this is coming from the dark regions of this presentation. So great presentation, and I think in terms of the association with Rochester Regional, it speaks volumes. The things to think about. I noticed you had a gaming a component to your educational system. And so things to talk about with Rochester Regional is taking that gaming component and going to the neurology department and going to the occupational health department and the physical therapy department and talk about putting together using gaming technology, software, that will help those with neurological impairments. And that's what takes a local hospital or a local health system like a Rochester Regional and brings them up into the level 7s or the Chimes level 6 in terms of not just mining data, turning data into useful information, going down the path of clinical informatics, but really now pairing it up, and I think several of you mentioned it, pairing it up with clinical programs at the hands-on patient level. So not for a response, if anyone wants to respond, that's great, but things to think about given the symbiotic relationship that you have up there.
I can just comment briefly. Those are outstanding thoughts, and we have forayed somewhat. Tried to make some hires even just recently in kind of the serious games, particularly around health. And I think there was a lot of interest sort of across campus in using things like VR and AR and games for behavior and health. And we're very open to any interest in those discussions. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and actually, I would give a little hat tip to my colleagues over at Golisano, who really, the college has been a real leader in the gamification movement, the whole exploration of gamification in a lot of different organizational contexts. So I think that's a great opportunity.
And are you willing to work with folks that have commercialized, we'll say early stage, mid-stage technologies, but may need help with the application? So for example, one of our clients has gamification for respiratory therapy, pulmonary function testing that can be done at home. Really good for kids that don't necessarily do their exercises and people with sickle cell and other diseases. But they're doing some great things. Maybe they can do even better things by getting the great minds of RIT to give it some juice. So,
well, and that could be a great.
Open to that.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just think that sounds like a great opportunity for something like a capstone project within any of a number of different courses in the game design or in the health informatics or in lots of different programs. Certainly in our programs within the Saunders College, there's lots of different capstone project opportunities that could turn around a technology like that, for sure.
Great. And I happened to meet them as I was a mentor for an upstate med device incubator in Syracuse. So they're based in Albany. So getting all of upstate New York or all of New York to work with each other because these fragile, fragmented technologies need some complementary capabilities to come to life. So I think RIT might be able to help these guys, and I will make that introduction. Any other comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, can I say one more thing? Just because when I was having the mute issue, I wasn't able to get in. You had asked a question initially about, how do we adapt our curriculum to various inputs, and will the HIMSS relationship help to inform that? And the answer is absolutely yes. In all of our programs, we have advisory boards. So we maintain advisory boards. Again, someone who I know is on this call, Matt Phillips, who is at Rochester Regional Health, is on one of my advisory boards, is on the advisory board for the MIS program here in the Saunders College. And our advisory boards are just incredibly invaluable to us. The insight that they provide about emerging trends, about possible curricular changes that could be valuable is a huge driver for the changes that we do make, for the ways in which we adapt our curriculum. And I fully anticipate this partnership to inform that what we do and what we teach in the same sort of way.
Great. Well, I believe this recording will be made available to those that couldn't attend and those that could. So I from the bottom of my heart, it pleases me to see HIMSS and RIT coming together, and I hope it's the beginning of a very meaningful, positive relationship. So I thank everyone for your time today. Thank you to the attendees. And Nick, any closing comments?
I'm good, Al. I want to thank everyone again, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Sitting in the back here in the camera shop, so to speak, it was great listening to everyone. And as they say, there's a lot of value in syndication. So this will be made available on our YouTube channel and for general consumption by the public. So thank you again.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks to all of you.
Thank you.